Hey, my name's Matt Stauffer. I am a programmer, and I usually do videos here about coding and running a business and stuff, but it's the Rona, and a lot of people are cutting hair at home. So I started cutting my son's hair at home 2 years ago and tried to learn how to give him fades by watching YouTube videos and Instagram videos. I'm okay at it. I've been tempted to give myself my own haircut, trying to, do this thing, look in a mirror. The Rona was the reason for me to finally learn it. I gave myself this haircut, which is okay, could be better. A lot of people have said, well, how do you do it? And obviously, I'm not a barber. No training. I've watched Instagram and YouTube videos. Hopefully that makes me more equipped to help people because I'm not a barber. So I do have tools. I've got a Wahl Senior, and then I've got a Andes T-liner, which is a little gray one. You don't necessarily need the T-liner for this. The main thing you should get is just a decent clipper with at least a 1 and a 2 and a 3 guard, and a 4 guard. The half guard is really nice, even if you have to go buy a half guard after you get it. And finally, this applies to any kind of fade. The one I'm doing today is it's called a skin fade, but if you had the equipment, I do, but I didn't use it in the video, you would use something called a balder to get the bottom even closer to the skin. Don't worry about that right now. Don't even worry about the little gray one. If you don't have the gray one, just use your zero guard at as close as it can get, because the little gray one for me is just going as close to the skin as possible. So you're gonna use a Wahl, and you're gonna use half if possible, and then a 1 and a 2 and a 3, and that's it. Open and closed are the little flipper. Most of the time what I'm doing is I'm setting guidelines. For each one, you're basically making steps up your head or down your head, depending on the way you do it. You'll notice that I kind of start at the top and then go from the bottom. You can do whatever you want. Some people just start at the bottom and then just go up. And you're basically just doing a step up, and each guard would go up about an inch. So you're just kind of going up inch by inch by inch, and then you're basically using a combination of slowly flipping the guard, but then also each movement you're doing this kind of C movement, so that instead of just going up, you do this kind of flick, then you're kind of like doing almost like a gradient. So hopefully looking at the video helps a little bit, but let's see if this helps. All right, first thing you want to do is brush down your hair. And then you're going to use your first guideline using either your T-liner or just the zero guard close. Just get as close to the skin as you can on this one. Follow the shape of your head here, and you're going to notice in just a second I kind of missed, but you're wanting it to be nice and smooth towards the back there. You can make this higher or lower depending on how high of a fade you want. So I jumped straight up to knocking out the bulk in the top. I'm basically setting sort of a guideline, but it's not a line when you get up that high. I'm really just kind of putting an imaginary line along the top of my head that kind of follows the same shape of that bottom line. I start with the 3 guard open, and then I go to the 2 guard open. Now this is one of the harder ones right here. You open up your zero guard the whole way, and you try to move up about an inch. You're going to notice that I'm not doing that consistently because I couldn't see the back. So go the whole way around your head and go up an inch, and then make sure to use that kind of C flick at the top. So you got an inch that's all pretty much the same length, and then up at the top you kind of fade up in the next one. So I go up again and I put on the half guard. Open. Remember, open means the longest it can be using the lever. And then I just go up another inch, and then right at the top I just kind of flick up a little bit. Remember, open means as long as possible, closed means as short as possible. Now I'm blending, and what that means is basically going back to a place where there's a notable line and going down closed at the bottom of that line, and then flicking up just a tiny little bit. So I'm basically going from where it was totally closed, which is basically the bottom of my head where it's baldish, up to where it was totally open, which is that first inch. And so I'm basically flicking in between those two to try and make it a little bit faded. And then I do the same thing here. I put the half guard open, and then half guard closed, and I flick up. And now I'm putting my 3rd guideline in. So you can see I'm kind of alternating between putting in guidelines and fading the delineation between one step and the next. So when it's open, I'm usually putting in a new guideline, and when it's closed or halfway, that's usually when I'm kind of doing a little bit of a fade. So here, this is the 2 guard closed. So I have already put in the 1 guard open and the 2 guard open, and so now I'm using the 2 guard closed to kind of fade between them. And then usually you don't just do open or closed. At some point you also do the halfway lever. And when you do it halfway, you're just going to go kind of like halfway up that inch. And so those are just the parts of slowly building a gradient. More blending here. I got the 1.5 open. Don't worry about 1.5 because 1.5 open is the same as 2 closed. And you're really just kind of continuing to look at it and look at it and look at it and find the spots where you notice there's a hard line. Be very gentle. You can never uncut hair, and just finding the spots where there's notable lines and just kind of finding what guard makes the most sense to go do just a really quick flick at the edge of that line. Really quick, really short flicks. So my razor overheated, so I went back to doing the work on the top here. I'm doing a hard part. Again, don't worry about the hard part right now. In general, when you're working on the top, there's probably better trained people for me to teach you how to do that. What I did here, because I was doing my hair very short, is scissors over comb and clippers over comb, and basically using a comb to pull my hair away from my head a little bit, and then using scissors or clippers to kind of trim it down. But if you have longer hair, you're probably going to need to learn about sectioning and all that kind of stuff, and go look to somebody smarter than me to teach you how to do that. But for me, I was able to just kind of use the comb or my fingers to pull it, finger length, finger and a half length away from my head, and then just trim whatever was sticking above the comb. Then I knocked out some of the bulk, above the fade, but before the top of my head with a 4 open and a 5 open, and then came back here and just found any other spots that looked like they were off. And that's really the rest of it. It's just finding where it looks like it's too sharp of a gradient, too sharp of a ledge, where instead of looking like a smooth or blurry fade as they call it, it looks more like steps. And find anywhere there's steps and just kind of trim them up. That's it. Good luck. Thanks for checking it out.